Welcome back to our channel. Today I will give a brief account of the history of the main African peoples. The history of Africa's black tribes is rich and complex, intertwined with vibrant cultures, ancient traditions, and historical events that have shaped the continent over the centuries. From the origins of the first civilizations to the present day, Africa has been a cradle of diversity and resilience. In this video, we will explore the journey of the Black African tribes, their hunting methods, facts about marriage, youth initiation, the tragic era of slavery, religions, ceremonies, and prominent historical figures. The earliest African civilizations date back thousands of years, with archaeological evidence indicating that Africa is the cradle of humanity. Black African tribes developed in different regions, each with their own cultures and ways of life. Among the oldest civilizations are ancient Egypt, known for its contributions to writing, architecture, and art, and the Kingdom of Kush. The Kingdom of Kush was an ancient African civilization that existed between approximately 1070 BC and 350 AD. Located in the region that today corresponds to Sudan, the Kingdom of Kush was a military and economic power in the Upper Nile area, famous for its riches and influence over Egypt. The hunting methods of African tribes vary widely depending on the region and animal species available. Many indigenous peoples of sub-Saharan Africa, such as the San or Bushmen of the Kalahari Desert, use traditional hunting methods that include the use of bows and arrows, spears, and traps. Hunting is not only a subsistence activity, but also a cultural and spiritual practice, with associated rituals and ceremonies. Some African people train dogs to help with hunting, guiding, and even attacking prey. Many tribes organize group hunts, using coordinated strategies to surround and capture their prey. They hunted hippos, antelopes, buffaloes, leopards, an important source of meat and skins, elephants and rhinos for horns and skins, and also some species of primates. Wedding rituals in African tribes are diverse and rich in symbolism. For example, among the Maasai of Kenya and Tanzania, marriage is a communal event with elaborate ceremonies that can last several days, and before the wedding, there are purification rituals to prepare the bride and groom and secure the blessings of the ancestors. The groom's family often gave a dowry to the bride's family, which could include cattle, land, or other valuable possessions. In some tribes, such as the Zulu, dance and music play an important role in wedding celebrations. Many marriages were arranged to strengthen alliances between tribes, promoting peace and cooperation. In some cultures, there was the practice of exchanging symbolic gifts between the bride and groom's families, such as jewelry, clothes, and animals. The initiation of young people is a common practice in many African tribes, marking the transition from childhood to adulthood. This rite of passage may include circumcision ceremonies, endurance tests, and teachings about adult responsibilities, such as war training with combat skills to protect the tribes, but it also symbolized the transition to adulthood, such as hunting dangerous animals or face physical and mental challenges. Among the Xhosa of South Africa, for example, young people undergo a ritual called ukwaluka, which involves retreat at a sacred site and ceremonies led by community elders. The era of slavery is one of the darkest parts of African history. Slavery existed in Africa before the arrival of Europeans, with some African tribes enslaving prisoners of war. However, the demand for slaves increased dramatically with the arrival of Europeans in the 15th century. African slaves were captured and transported to the Americas and Europe through the transatlantic slave trade, also known as the slave trade, where they faced extremely precarious conditions with little space, inadequate food, and lack of hygiene, resulting in high mortality rates during the trip. The main destinations for African slaves included European colonies in the Americas, such as Brazil, the Caribbean, and the United States, where they were forced to work on sugar, coffee, tobacco, and cotton plantations. Furthermore, some slaves were also taken to Europe to work in various roles. African tribes, such as the Ashanti and the Dahomey, participated in the slave trade, selling prisoners of war and individuals captured in raids to European traders. Spirituality is central to many African tribes. Traditional African religions are characterized by animistic religions, beliefs in spirits and ancestors, local deities, and the importance of ritual ceremonies. With the arrival of European colonizers, many African religions began to incorporate elements of Christianity and Islam, resulting in a mixture of beliefs known as syncretism. For example, the Yoruba of Nigeria worship a pantheon of orishas, each associated with natural elements and aspects of human life. Ceremonies such as Egungun honor ancestors through dances and ritualistic performances. Despite pressure from colonizers, many African communities continued to practice their traditional religions, often in secret or adapting their practices to avoid repression. Africa has a rich history of powerful kingdoms and monarchs. Among them is Mansa Musa, the Emperor of Mali, who ruled between approximately 1312 and 1337. He is often considered one of the richest people in history due to the vast amount of gold and salt that Mali possessed during his reign. In 1324, Mansa Musa made a pilgrimage to Mecca, known as Hajj, which was one of the grandest in history. He traveled with a caravan of over 60,000 people, including soldiers, civilians, and slaves, and distributed gold generously along the way, significantly impacting the local economy. Another example is Queen Nzinga of Ndongo and Matamba, present-day Angola, who resisted Portuguese colonization in the 17th century and is remembered for her leadership and diplomatic skills. She negotiated peace treaties and alliances with the Portuguese, often on unfavorable terms, to protect her people. Nzinga led the resistance against the Portuguese for almost 4 decades, becoming a symbol of African resistance to colonialism. To this day, she is remembered as a heroine in Angola, and one of the main streets in Luanda, the capital of Angola, is named after her. Queen Amina of Zazzau, present-day Nigeria. Amina was born around 1533 and assumed the throne after the death of her father, Bakwa Turunku, and later her brother Karama. She led several military campaigns that expanded Zazzau's territories, conquering surrounding cities and strengthening the kingdom's influence. Amina is known to have ordered the construction of huge earthen walls around conquered cities, known as Ganawar Amina, or Walls of Amina. She is an iconic figure of female leadership, being one of the few women to rule a kingdom at that time. Queen Amina's memory lives on in oral traditions and in various tributes, including streets and institutions named in her honor. The history of the Black tribes of Africa is a tapestry of diverse cultures, resilience, and spiritual richness, from its ancestral origins to contemporary challenges. Thank you for watching our video about African people and their rich histories and cultures. We hope you learned something new and were inspired by the resilience and diversity of these incredible civilizations. Don't forget to like this video, share with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content. Until next time.